Hi there, Brendan here for R&B Reviews. I've tried taping this review 3 times now, and I don't feel like I'm getting it right, and I just like talking about this movie so much. I feel like there's not enough things I could say in a 10-minute time period here, but I'm just going to jump into it, and this is the last time I'm taping this. I can't keep taping this review anymore, but the movie I'm talking about is one of my all-time favorite horror science fiction genre benders of all time, Event Horizon. If you haven't seen Event Horizon, just check it out. I'll open my review with that, obviously. I love it. The plot of Event Horizon is simple. A rescue mission is sent out to find a ship called the Event Horizon. Now, the Event Horizon had disappeared 7 years earlier on a experimental mission to go to the furthest point in space that they could get and use this device called the gravity drive, which would essentially bend the universe so that the ship could travel between any 2 points in time and space. And once the ship got out to its safe distance, turned on the gravity drive, and the ship was never heard from again until now. And it's sending out this radio signal, and there's some weird Latin stuff is being said in it, really spooky. It just sounds very messed up, but the Lewis and Clark, the rescue ship that's sent out there, is headed by Captain Miller, played awesomely by Lawrence Fishburne, who never really gives a dull performance in my opinion. I think he's always done great flicks and stuff like that. In this movie, he certainly does a fantastic job here. Definitely doesn't treat it like a horror movie or anything that's beneath him. That's what I love about this movie. Great acting. But with Captain Miller comes this crew of, also, again, fantastic actors. Jolie Richardson, Richard T. Jones, Kathleen Quinlan, Jason Isaacs, who I love. He's a fantastic actor. And the second lead in the movie, along with them, comes the Event Horizon's creator and the creator of the gravity drive, Dr. Weir, played awesomely by Sam Neill, who's one of my favorite, maybe horror movie bad guys of all time. He just does a great job in this. Or sort of favorite horror movie scientist type guys. It's hard to categorize him in this movie, but in reading up on the internet, it turns out a lot of people hate Sam Neill for some reason. They think he's a boring actor. Completely the opposite here. I've always thought he was a great actor, you know, Jurassic Park, stuff like that. I've seen him in other films as well before he got really big. And this film is just another one that shows what a great actor he is. And his character is a past and everything, but once the Lewis and Clark finds the Event Horizon, they board the ship and weird things begin to happen. The crew begins to sort of hallucinate and see things that aren't really there, and the ship kind of knows what people love and what they fear, and the ship manipulates the people on the ship to, you know, hurt and get themselves injured or sort of possession. You're never exactly sure what the hell happened to the crew on the Event Horizon. You have an idea, because it's early on alluded to that the ship possibly went to hell and back. And that was the dimension the ship went to. It went further than Dr. Weir had originally thought it would ever go. That just adds an entirely another level of creepiness when you throw hell into the mix, which I absolutely love that aspect. Movies that have to deal with hell and demons and Satan, I love. Those are great. I love stuff like Evil Dead, Exorcist, you know, anything that has to do with gateways of hell being opened up. You know, Ninth Gate, for example, great movie. The film looks great. The cinematography is awesome. The film, just every single shot looks wonderful. It's all well done. Directed by Paul Anderson of Resident Evil fame. And I know this could turn so many people off if you've never seen the movie and seen his other flicks. You would have no idea this was directed by the same guy. Paul Anderson really knocked it out of the park with this, and this is, in my opinion, his only good film. And it's a fantastic film. You owe it to yourself to check it out. Just throw away the biases of his other films and see Event Horizon, because it's head and shoulders above everything else he's ever done. The scares in the film, per se, really get at you. I mean, the movie moves very fast, and there's a lot of mystery to it. I don't want to give too much away in this review. I would love to do a spoiler-filled review of this movie as well, but as the scares sort of progress, no matter how many times I see this movie, the scares always get me. Sort of the visions of hell, per se, they show in the movie are really messed up and warped, and this was a movie where a studio had cut it down significantly for its release, and it was deemed too gory, so they had to cut out all the gore in the film, and all that footage has been lost. The director and writer have been quoted as saying, and you know, they would love to do a director's cut of this movie, but they can't because the footage has been lost. And it's like, it's just disappointing. I would love to see a gorier version of this movie or a director's cut. But you know, all that aside, that was just, you know, some background info. This film is fantastic all the same. Plenty of horror homages to go around. Sort of like a ghost story on a spaceship, you know, Shining in space almost. References The Shining visually a few times. Don't Look Now, if you've heard of that film, there's some obvious references to that. The obvious science fiction mecca films of horror, I would say, The Thing and Alien. The whole design of the ship was modeled after like the ship from Alien, and like I said, it looks fantastic. It's a straight up horror film in space. It doesn't bog you down the science fiction stuff, but it manages to create an entire universe that's never been seen before. And you buy it, and you buy into the horror, and the ship is great. The cast is phenomenal. No one acts like the movie's beneath them. I mean, they all deliver great performances. The makeups in the later half of the movie are great. There's one that particularly creeps me out. There's sort of a running motif of eyeballs being ripped out of the skull and like being held out on the hands. That creeps me out big time. I had first heard about this movie on a camping trip when I was like 8 or 9 or something like that, and I had only heard, someone was only telling me about the plot aspects of the movie, and I was like, I gotta see this. So I went out of my way, eventually saw it. It scared me shitless, and it's one of my favorite horror films of all time. I just watched it earlier today, and it just pulls me in every time I watch it. And if you haven't seen it, please check it out this holiday season. You're not going to regret it. If you love stuff like Alien and John Carpenter's The Thing, you're going to love this as well. And it belongs right up there with the science fiction horror movies. And not to mention horror movies in general. It's a fantastic horror film. If you played the game Dead Space, there's Dead Space borrows a lot of familiar aspects of Event Horizon. Also, Dead Space is a phenomenal game if you haven't checked that out. But Event Horizon, do yourself a favor. Go out. Don't even rent it. Just buy it, because you're not going to regret it. It's a fantastic film. Sam Neill puts on a hell of a performance. The effects have not really dated that. They're not really dated that much for being more than 10 years old now. The movie came out in '97 and failed, and it's kind of considered a cult classic, sort of found movie type thing. And whatever, that's just great for the movie. More people can see it that way. But haven't seen it, please check it out. If you have seen it, let me know what you think down below in the comments. As usual, I like to hear from other people who've seen this, and if you didn't like the movie or something like that, let me know. I'm always interested in hearing the other side of the argument. But Event Horizon, one of my favorite horror movies. Check it out. You're not going to regret it this holiday season. And until next time, this is Brendan for R&B Reviews.